I made our first trip to Hawaii
Yeah.
in the early 80s.
Yeah.
The local 10 p.m. news,
Yeah.
the anchor, who was there for many years, was wearing an Aloha shirt.
Yeah.
And they didn't start at 10. They started at 10:02.
It was Hawaii, it's Hawaiian time.
And
So
over the years, they got,
yeah,
more quote unquote
punctual.
professional. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Gone was the Aloha shirt.
Yeah. Well, you see, friends, I'm dying. Not literally, but maybe a little bit. We will, yep, there we is. There we is. All is well when the interwebs decides to work in our favor.
You look beautiful, but you look a little haggard.
Me? Hi, Kevin. Hi, Jason. Hi, Nick. Hi, Jonathan. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. Yes, I've had a bit of a morning. I have a new medication that my doctor is trying for me. And if you are unfamiliar with my many amusing ailments, I have a bunch of different autoimmune diseases, because why have one when you can have 12? Sorry, Jonathan, I will call you John. Hello, John. Hello, Quentin. Hello, all you friends. Yes, I have something like lupus and a bunch of other autoimmune diseases. And I am starting a new medication. I was supposed to start a new medication this week. And I tried it for the first time last night and woke up this morning and felt like death. And it's because the nurse accidentally put the wrong amount in the syringe, which could happen to anyone, but it happened to me. So the dosage that he wanted me to start on was 2.5. The syringe had 15 in it.
Oh, no.
15 milligrams.
Oh, no.
Now, I looked it up on the internet, which is the best place to look for medical information. And the good news is 15 is the largest dose you can take of this particular medication. So I'm not going to die, because you can have this much medicine of this particular medicine. You can have that. But you just shouldn't start there.
No.
So instead of 2.5 milligrams, I got 15 milligrams. And I feel like I'm dying. But I'm here. I'm with you guys. I don't know where I am or what day it is anymore, but that's okay, because I don't usually know those things. We have had one hell of a couple of days, I will tell you. And it's been a blast, exhausting, interesting. Last weekend, we went down to San Diego. We've been up and down the coast. We went to Palm Springs. We were in the Palm Springs Festival.
Right.
And then about a week and such later, we're in San Diego for the San Diego International Jewish Film Festival.
I gave a speech, and
I interviewed my dad on stage. And I will tell you that being a Jewish person, getting to do Jew things, helping out your Jewish brothers and sisters feels really good, especially right now. So that was neat. We went down to San Diego. Monday, I went to Disneyland with Daisy. She has not been since she was 2. We went to Disneyland. And
you walked in and immediately saw Belle.
Yep. And Daisy was wearing a Belle dress. So huge hit. Then we went to Santa Barbara. And yes, Patrick is saying congrats to you, Leonard, on getting an award named after yourself. Yes. The Maltin Modern Master.
That was one weekend before.
No, named after yourself.
Oh, named after me, yes.
The Maltin Modern Master, which is the renamed award, happened, I guess it's
almost 10 years
almost
ago.
10 years ago that they changed the name, which is wild. And yeah, it's been an absolute blast every year getting to do it. And this year, the recipient was Adam Sandler. And I have to tell you, he was amazing.
Yeah. He was really wonderful.
And I'm not saying that no, he was amazing. He was so kind, so thoughtful, like really thoughtful. And he has a really interesting life. Like he studied at NYU. He studied acting at NYU. Like there's
I didn't know this beforehand, but he has a BA
yeah.
in drama and acting from New York University.
He has a lot of depth to him in ways you wouldn't even know. And it was just, Emily, he was everything I ever could have hoped for times 10, like genuinely.
And his friend, we didn't know this, his longtime friend, Dustin Hoffman, came to present his award.
They always have somebody come to give the award. So my dad is on stage with him for an hour, hour and a half.
At the Arlington Theater, which seats like 2,000.
The beautiful Arlington Theater in Santa Barbara on State Street. And they have a whole conversation. They watch clips. They have a whole conversation. And then somebody, usually someone that the recipient has asked, gives the actual award and gives a lovely speech. And this year it was Dustin Hoffman. They were cast together in the Meyerowitz stories, which you and Mommy rewatched and really enjoyed.
Yes. Noah Baumbach's film. I had kind of a medium grade memory of it.
Yeah.
But it didn't stick with me. But I appreciated it all the more watching it again, and especially Hoffman's performance. They're all good.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller and Adam Sandler play half brothers. And Elizabeth Marvel is their sister. And Emma Thompson, in a wacky performance, playing American, is Hoffman's latest wife. And Dustin Hoffman plays a completely self-absorbed artist.
Yeah.
Who's never quite made it.
Mommy said, "Where did that character come from? She goes over to him and he's standing with his wife. And my mom says, you're just incredible. Where did that come from? He goes, I just played myself. He was in a great mood. They have a real relationship. And as I said, it couldn't have been better. And yes, some of you are mentioning, I did post pictures. So Daisy, first of all, loves a red carpet. My daughter is 4 years old, loves a red carpet, loves to have her picture taken. It's absolutely terrifying because she has all these little poses she does that I don't know where she learned, but she does them. She was hilarious on the carpet and did a whole bunch of photos with Grandpa. And then Adam Sandler saw her. She was like cartwheeling behind him. He couldn't have been nicer. And then, we were backstage with Dustin Hoffman, who I now know has 8 grandkids. 7 of them are boys. 1 of them is a girl. That one girl is also named Daisy. He was so sweet with her and so kind and totally grandpa mode, like just really, really patient. Daisy, I have to say, was very well behaved backstage.
She was. Which
you never know what's going to happen. But in this case, she was very well behaved. But she was back there sitting. At one point, she was leaning on Dustin Hoffman, and me and our friend Claire, who was with us, were sitting backstage going, Daisy, get off of it. Because kids they don't have any spatial awareness. He didn't mind. He was so sweet. As the evening was ending and they came backstage to do pictures, my dad took a picture with Dustin and with Adam. Very sweet again. And then Adam calls out and he says, Daisy, get in here. So they bring Daisy in, and Daisy's in a bunch of the pictures with all of them. It was a fantastic night. And he was asking questions about you as well. Because he was asking you about your experience at NYU. It just couldn't have been better. It really just couldn't have been better. It was a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Yep.
And then we stayed in Santa Barbara.
I'm very lucky to get to do that.
Yes.
Every year, Roger Derling, who's the artistic director of the festival, prognosticates who is likely to be an Oscar nominee that we haven't yet celebrated at the festival. And his batting average is really high.
Yeah.
The first time he missed it was Robert Redford.
Yeah.
But Robert Redford came, was a wonderful guest. So it's
Robert Redford. You don't need an
Redford.
excuse for Robert Redford.
That's right. And this time he said Adam Sandler is going to get a nomination for his performance in Jay Kelly with George Clooney. Well, that didn't come to pass, but it's still a wonderful performance and an interesting character that he plays as Clooney's longtime manager.
Yeah.
And hell, he's been a movie star for 40 years.
He's been working for a really long time. And then again, I will say to you as a Jewish person, the fact that, the Hanukkah song, it may seem silly to some, but having that song be so popular and be on the radio and get played.
Especially because,
I was a kid, and really it was like, what do you mean we now have a song? What do you mean we have a song that's on the radio that people are learning that he's performing everywhere? It was really special. And then he also he made a movie called 8 Crazy Nights. And he said how much it means to him that people will come up and say that's part of their tradition now around Hanukkah. As I say, he's just a mensch.
American parents have it tough when Christmas comes along. Yeah. Because Christmas is such a big deal.
You don't mean American parents, you mean Jewish parents.
Well, yes, American Jewish parents. But Christmas is a national holiday.
Yeah, but it's around the world. I wouldn't say American. I would say anybody who has to deal with Christmas. Any parent who has to deal with a kid that's not going to get Christmas.
Right.
Is a lot.
Now, we Jews, we're less than 2% of the world population.
Yeah, we Jews. Not a lot of us.
Yeah, not a lot of us out there.
Not a lot of us.
And so we have to kind of defend Hanukkah as our equivalent to Christmas, which it isn't.
Which it isn't at all. But
it's just an excuse to say, well, you get 8 presents because it's 8 nights.
I always say that it's become a way to stop kids from converting, because otherwise every child would be like, yes, I would like Christmas. Thank you very much. But yeah, again, it was just really, really special. And I'm so grateful that we got that night.
Yep.
And again, like, he just couldn't have been nicer. He drove himself up. He was early. No one has ever been early. He was early. Yeah. What a mensch, truly. What a lovely, lovely human being. And I'm so grateful that we got time with him because it was so special. And I've been a fan for so many years. To then have him be everything I could ask for times 10 is just so, so, so special. I want to go through some of the things you guys are talking about. James is saying hi from Australia. Hello in Australia.
Hello.
He says, I know this is a bit of a long shot, but with Disney getting a new CEO, is it possible that the Disney treasures might make a comeback? I will tell you what has been really interesting, though, about this big announcement is so many of my friends know him personally. They know them by name. One of my friends, we have a few friends who run some of the Disney sites, like the fan sites. And one of them was messaging me last night about it because he was saying how he still can't quite believe that the new guy in charge knows him by name. And they have a texting relationship. He lets him know when there's something he wants him to come cover. And so, you never say never. I'm crossing my fingers that just in general, there will be, some positive changes. Because you have to hope for the best, right?
But Mr. Iger, all due respect, Mr. Iger is not leaving.
No.
He's going to remain on the board of directors.
He will never leave. He's not stupid.
He's not cutting his ties to Disney.
He will never leave. He's not stupid. He knows. Catherine O'Hara, is that not some of the worst news?
Yeah.
And I mean this, is that not some of the worst news we've ever had? Like, what an absolute mess. It is really, when we got that, as that information started to go out, I just couldn't believe it. Really, I think we all had the same kind of no. It's terrible news. She was a phenomenally talented person for drama and for comedy. You never heard a bad word about her.
No.
So kind, very Canadian, so kind. And it just, man.
If you've never seen Christopher Guest's film, For Your Consideration, I mean, she's great in all of the Christopher Guest movies, but that film
it's next level.
Is next level. Yeah.
It's next level. The only positive thing that I appreciate a lot is, if you're going to pass away, leave a legacy like that.
Yeah.
Because every person, you know, from fans, just fans, to people who knew her and knew her well, just a beautiful, you know, every tribute where people are just saying she was one of the kindest, funniest people they ever met. Eugene Levy talked about the fact they worked together for 50 years. They worked together for 50 years. I told you that a clip of her and Fred was going viral again, of them doing the, so that's one of those things I just think, well, at least Fred Willard has somebody else up there to do some more comedy with.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. Oh, every single one of the Christopher Guest movies, and she in general, I don't think there's anything she's in where she's not fantastic. I don't think that exists.
No.
But yeah, whether you're talking Beetlejuice or you're talking Best in Show is one of my favorite movies ever.
Mighty Wind, they're all good. Waiting for Guffman.
They're fantastic, and she's fantastic. And obviously the fact that we all got Schitt's Creek,
yeah,
you know, having that forever, very, very grateful. Ryan says, yeah, Iger seems to care very little about Disney's past. Yeah, you just have to hope that Josh feels differently. I hope he does. You know, you can only do what you can do. I have to say, it's very strange being at Disneyland because there is so much new stuff and there's all these new systems. My concern with going, as we did last week, was just, I don't know how everything works. And I also really don't want to have my phone out. You know, I wanted to have pictures. Obviously, you know, when Daisy got to go hug Goofy, I took pictures of it. And, you know, she was playing with Pluto and I was, you know, taking video of that. But I don't want my phone like this because this is how I have to do everything. To me, that's not why I'm there. I'm there because I want to be in the moment with my kid and watching all the other kids,
right,
you know, experiencing the magic.
You went with friends.
Yes. The saving grace was a very dear friend of ours, and her daughter met us there, and they're regulars. And so they helped. And then because it was just a Monday in February, it was pretty quiet. So the downside of quiet time there means that a lot of stuff is closed and the parades are not as often. So that's disappointing because you don't get to see as much as you'd like to.
Yeah.
But it also meant that we weren't standing in line for 12 years because if you've ever stood in line with a toddler or any child really of any age, they don't want that. So yeah, I was grateful. We had such a good time and my husband was able to come. He wasn't working that day. So that was really nice too. We could all do it together. My back still hurts from the submarine ride because they've never changed those seats. They were uncomfortable when I was a kid. They're uncomfortable now. Just ridiculous. So I'm just going to go up and make sure I get the one. Yes, of course. I just have to say also Catherine O'Hara being Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas. What a fantastic memory. Nick says, Josh seems to relish it. He didn't want a tree that was at Disneyland during Walt's time removed. Yeah, you know, you really have to, as I say, you have to hope, right? You have to hope. Charlie saying, hey, Leonard, I've been a fan since your days on Entertainment Tonight. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for saying that.
Mm-hmm. I saw, Charlie, you posted about not being able to use one of the things on Patreon. We don't really use Discord. So I don't know that we need that. But if there's an issue with it, I can look it up for you. I'm happy to try. Someone's saying, I imagine you must be happy to see the Looney Tunes on TCM now.
You imagine correctly.
Yes. Ben Mankiewicz did a whole thing about Jerry's book.
Great.
And then the thing that Larry sent us, Alicia Malone talked about you and Jerry and how you felt like Looney Tunes really helped teach you about music history, certain things like that.
Yep. About slang, about World War II rationing, about...
it's wild.
About a lot of things.
Yeah.
It was of its time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little time capsule. Some of those cartoons. Chuck Jones always said he didn't put anything topical in his cartoons.
So it wouldn't age. And it's true. I mean, it is funny how it sort of works. We talk about, my dad loves old time radio. He taught me to love old time radio. And it's funny, but some shows work so well and require no explanation. The Al Jolson show does not, because there are a ton of topical references. And I had to continually ask my dad what they were talking about.
Right.
And if you have to explain a joke, it's not funny. So when we would try to listen to that, I would have to ask you over and over again and go, what's this about? What's that joke? What's that joke? Whereas Jack Benny, who to me will always be the best, has very little of that. And so every now and then you ask a question, but in general, it's just funny. Craig says, what films have you been showing at USC?
Well, we usually have a challenge in January and February because that's when generally crummy movies come out. But we opened the semester. The opening night was USC grad Ryan Johnson, who has come with many of his films before, brought his latest, Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out mystery, and was a wonderful guest. And the class was very responsive to him. And I watched the film again for a second time. I liked it a little better than the first time. It's still too long, it seems to me. But that's my only real critique of it.
Yeah, but you've already had some really good movies and some great guests.
The second week we showed a little film called Lurker, which I recommend. I don't know what the release plans are for it, but it was the writing, directing feature film debut of a guy named Alex Russell, and he was a great guest, a very unusual guest, very candid. He's a guy who comes from TV. He worked on Beef and The Bear, good shows. And then he made this feature about a guy who sort of attaches himself to a charismatic British singer-songwriter.
Yes, it is Logan. You're correct.
And he insinuates himself into this guy's entourage. And things happen. It's a good movie, and he talked about the disparity of working on a feature film script on spec, which is unpaid. You're all alone, and working in TV, you're in a room full of people all vying for for acceptance. Your idea is going to get taken, someone else's may not.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting night, and we have the third night.
You just had a good one that you really liked. What's the?
Oh yes, Send Help.
Yeah, you just had Send Help, and you really liked that.
What a terrific movie! Sam Raimi's new movie. I had the two screenwriters, and who have been at it a long time. They've had credits back to 2003, 2004.
Crazy.
They've written a prequel to Aladdin called Genie. Hasn't been produced yet. Like other working screenwriters in Hollywood, the fact that you can work and make a living and yet not have a lot of credits
is crazy.
Is one of the oddities of the way the movie business
Craig
works.
says Lurker had its theatrical run last October, and it's on streaming now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
It's worth a look.
There you go. But yeah, it's already started off well, and that's exciting.
And to show you how unpredictable popular culture is, they're now going to do a Speedy Gonzalez feature film.
Yeah.
So and Jorge Gutierrez is going to, who did Book of Life, very talented guy.
Ben made a mistake and said Frizz won 3 awards during his time at Warner's, but he won 4. And they forgot about Tweety Pie. Can't forget about Tweety Pie. Do you think now that Josh is CEO, we will ever get an official release of Song of the South? I genuinely believe there will never, ever be a release of Song of the South. I think they're all so afraid of it, and they've created this sort of chaos. I don't know. I think they never will. As I say, thankfully, at least you can find it places. It's not like it's gone forever. Alan is asking if my husband is at the big Doctor Who convention. He does not care about Doctor Who. It's not one of his things, but I'm sure everybody there is having a blast. Millennials like me were lucky that Cartoon Network used to play those cartoons all the time. Unfortunately, it's not the same now. Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's really interesting how certain things age. And again, like Daisy is not pulled in by the Looney Tunes yet. And I really think it's because the jokes are more adult.
Yeah.
You know, she can look at a character and like it. Like she likes the look of Bugs Bunny, but it's not Mickey Mouse, you know? And it's interesting to see it through a different lens, you know? Ken is asking, how often do you see a film the first time and are not overly impressed, but the second time out you changed your mind?
It's not that I changed my mind so much as that I get to appreciate a film more.
Mm-hmm.
I already know the story beats, but I may get to value a performance.
Yeah.
Hamnet was a film that did not capture me when I saw the Telluride. So I thought Jessie Buckley was just great, especially at the finale, at the end of the film. But watching it again, I still don't love that movie, but I liked it more. I paid more attention to Paul Mescal and how good he is. Mescal.
Yeah. I will tell you that the truth is he never used to see things twice. It very rarely happened.
Yeah.
Now it tends to happen because of class.
Yeah.
And it tends to be the case where it's showing in his class. And so he ends up seeing it a second time. Because every now and then, if you're showing something you've seen, you just will go and read a book or kill time. But if you think about the fact that he, depending on the length of the movie especially, can have like 2.5 or 3 hours, he just watches it again. and that has been very different.
I like the Frankenstein better the second time.
Hi, this person's saying that they are a Scotsman living in Stratford, Ontario, Canada. Well, hello there, you lucky duck up there. It's beautiful. What a lovely place to be. 1 second. I hope Josh figures out what to do about the Richard F. Irvine steamboat from Magic Kingdom. Yeah, again, we'll see what happens. You can kind of guess and Logan, you can guess and try to figure out what they'll do, but who the hell knows? We'll see as it happens.
Yes, we watched the Mel Brooks documentary, my wife and I.
Yeah.
Liked it very much.
Hi.
I mean, it's about Mel Brooks. How far wrong can you go?
Yeah.
I am in it microscopically. 2 shots of me at the Academy Tribute Night when I had 3 of his actresses on stage.
Yeah.
Tracy Ullman, Terry Garr, and Leslie Ann Warren. So there's a master shot of us.
Yeah.
If you don't blink.
Fritz Freeling stated in an interview that the Warner Brothers animators were doing things that Disney would never do. He said the Looney Tunes were made to amuse the staff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they've all made statements like that.
Yeah. They want to make each other laugh.
Yeah. It was different. It's not the same. As I say, it's fascinating now to see that with another generation, to watch my daughter's responses to stuff, see what draws her in. The new Muppets have just aired.
Yes.
And I don't know what kids think of it yet. All of my grown-up friends are thrilled and they really like it. And they feel like it feels like it should feel.
I read a headline said it's your grandparents' Muppet Show.
Yeah, which is to me like the best thing anybody could say.
Yeah.
Could I please have both of your autographs? Yeah, right here. I'll try. I will attempt to shove it through the computer, my friend. We have so because of the book that we have coming out, it's been really kind of wild. We're going to be filming a night for TCM, and I have never been on TCM. I do not consider myself knowledgeable enough to be on TCM, so it's kind of wild, but also a bit overwhelming. But it's nice that we get to share some of these movies, with that audience and talk to them about it.
This is in conjunction with our upcoming book, our forthcoming book.
Fifth coming. Our
It's
fifth coming
coming.
book.
It's coming. And it's called Family Movie Night Menus.
Something to something something.
Essays on 25 movies.
That's not the other part of the title, though.
No.
Just checking.
I'm describing it.
Okay, go for it.
Essays on 25 movies that we encourage you to share with your family. put on as a babysitter. Watch it with your family. And then for fun, we have recipes for each film that relates to the film in some way.
Yes.
And
we hope you like it.
That's the premise of the book.
Hi, Theo. Hi, CJ.
It goes from Charlie Chaplin to Harry Potter.
Yes. Yes, it does. But yeah, it's wild to sort of be looking at stuff like that. And so, yeah, getting the email saying that we're going to be on TCM is just normal for him. Quite overwhelming for me. Daunting, really.
Oscar nominations. I think they got it right mostly. There are some films I'm less impressed with than others, but I'm glad that the 2 foreign language films that made it to the Best Picture roster are there. Sentimental Value is one of the best films of the last year, I think, as is It Was Just an Accident. They both deserve to be in that list of 10.
Yeah, it's, again, it's always really tough. When do pre-orders start? I don't know. Yeah. I think they're on the Amazon.
Amazon's been selling it for months.
Yeah.
April 7th is our pub date, and it's also the night that you'll be able to see us on TCM.
Yes.
They're showing 4 of the movies that are in the book.
Fun and slightly scary, but fun. Are there Disney films in the book? Yeah.
No. Well, there's only 2.
Enchanted.
Yeah.
That's a Disney. So are there Disney films in the book?
Yes. Mary Poppins.
2.
But we explained in the introduction that we didn't. You open a floodgate if you say you're going to include Disney animated features.
Well, this is the thing, and you've talked about it a little bit. This is what they wanted. They wanted us to pick older films, newer films, a real range of stuff. They didn't want too many of any one genre. And we also wanted to, it's like, these are not the best movies ever, which is not to say that they aren't all wonderful movies, but it's not like watch these 25 films or else you'll die. No, it's 25 films that we think you will enjoy sharing with your family. And again, because it comes with little recipes and stuff to make it, it's just meant to be fun. It's meant to be something you can do with your families.
Every list is an invitation for debate.
Yeah.
There's no question of that. So we'll get lots of people saying, how could you leave out such and such? Or, why didn't you?
We'll have to do a part 2.
And by the way, we're available to do part 2.
We will do a part 2. Jim says Leonard is the best critic ever. He doesn't try to read all the stuff like the others. It's good, bad, funny, etc. The way critics should be. Thanks, Leonard. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for the nice compliment.
John says he doesn't like Statler and Waldorf. They drive him crazy. I will tell you, Statler and Waldorf, because I grew up surrounded by film critics, is my life. And I love them because they are very much, I always think of them. Are there any Frank Capra films in the book, rather?
No.
Sorry. There are a whole heap of movies. Let's say 25. Let me find the thingy. I can tell you what they are. It's not a secret. 1 second.
I misspoke. It Was Just an Accident is not a Best Picture nominee.
Okay.
It is a double nominee, however, for Best Screenplay and for Best International Feature.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
Well, you can buy it. I'm saying you can buy it on Target. You can go to Target for our book. Wild times. 1 second. It's also available on Hachette. Hang on.
Which is our publisher.
Indeed. Dinner and drink recipes inspired by the films we love.
No, that's the other book.
Yes, checking. I was like, that's not the right thing at all. We don't have any drinks in there. Not that I know of. Sorry, guys. I'm going to see if I can pull up a list for you of all the movies because I don't have it memorized because there's 25 of them.
Well, the first film is The Kid, 1921, with Charlie Chaplin and Jackie Coogan. And in the film, little Jackie Coogan, who's just adorable, makes pancakes for his father.
Yep.
For his adoptive father. And it's a very cute scene, very sweet segment in the movie. So that's our recommendation. We call them Coogan cakes.
Coogan cakes. There's
we
never a
have
bad time.
then we have a Shirley Temple movie,
Hmm.
Captain January, where she sings and dances at the Codfish Ball with Buddy Ebsen. And I think it's codfish.
It was like a fish sandwich.
Fish sandwich,
Yeah. Coming up with the menu stuff was very amusing. Trying to find stuff because I didn't want to have stuff that was hard to make. You know, you don't want to choose things that require a ton of effort because that takes away the fun. You know, if you're concerned you're going to get it wrong, things like that, it's like no. Yeah, a Christmas Story is in there, and Princess Bride. See how many I can remember in my head. Lord help me.
Sounder.
Sounder is in there. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, my favorite movie, my mom's favorite movie.
Calamity Jane.
Yep, Calamity Jane is in there.
National Velvet.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing well.
A Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
Look at you. Continue.
I wrote them all.
I know, right?
With you.
Yeah. So many movies. And so as I say, meet me in St. Louis because I made hickory nut cake.
Secret Garden.
Mm-hmm.
A Little Princess.
To Kill a Mockingbird because I did the Harper Lee's stuff. It's one of the Harry Potters. I think is it the first Harry Potters?
Yeah.
Sound of Music. What else is in there? It's so. Oh yeah, Enchanted, which I love. Willy Wonka.
Right.
Willy Wonka's in there.
The one with Gene Wilder.
Yep. A Little Princess, because we made Indian food for that. Mary Poppins. The Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, right.
Where you can make goulash. Wizard of Oz. And then I think that is all of them. No, E.T. E.T. is in there. One of the Star Wars.
Honey, I Shrunk the
Honey,
Kids.
I Shrunk the Kids. One of the Star Warses.
No.
Yes. Lightsaber skewers. What is that? What? What's wrong? What's wrong? How about Lassie? No Laurel and Hardy. No. I wish. We talk about again. They had what they wanted us to. What they wanted us to include. Initially, they wanted more older films, which we were excited about, but then they kind of wanted to spread it around because if it was us,
we compromise.
Yeah, a lot of compromise,
and which leaves the path wide open for a sequel.
Wide open. Normally, don't like sequels, but in this case, would be open to a sequel. I'm trying to think of what else you guys have been watching because it feels like you're always playing catch up now.
Yeah,
but I will make you sit up straight.
Okay.
I will put pillows behind you until you sit up straight, sir. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is a Disney film. Those. There are at least 3 in the book. Yes. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what you. Oh, well, you just saw a movie in Santa Barbara that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Called The Yellow Tie, and the problem is I can't pronounce the name.
Yeah.
Of the man that it's about.
Yeah.
He's a Romanian, world-renowned Romanian conductor, composer. And he's played in the present day by John Malkovich, and Miranda Richardson plays his wife. But the bulk of the film is in flashback. It's a pretty good film. Not perfect, but pretty good. I'm glad we got to see it.
Yeah.
We did not get to see right afterwards. They're screening this documentary about the legendary stage production of Godspell that was staged in 1970, I think, in Toronto. That had in its cast Martin Short, Gilda Radner, Victor Garber, Paul Schaefer.
Ridiculous.
I'm forgetting.
Unreal, honestly.
Yeah. All of whom, within just a year or two, would come to New York.
Yeah.
And find fame and fortune. And
incredible.
Yeah.
Leonard, what do you think of the upcoming Famous Studios Champion Collection Blu-ray?
Well, I'm glad it's happening. Anything that gets films off the shelf and into circulation, I am for.
Yeah.
I'm not the greatest fan of Famous Studios' work. That's the cartoon studio, New York cartoon studio that was run originally by Max and Dave Fleischer. And in a series of unfortunate events, they were deposed and had their studio taken away from them. Seymour Nightel, who was, I think, Max's son-in-law, or nephew, I'm going to say it wrong now. Someone will correct me. The same people who'd been working for the Flashers continued working at famous studios. And they did Casper the Friendly Ghost and Little Lulu.
Mm-hmm. We love Little Lulu in this house.
And Popeye. They continued doing Popeye for a good many years.
Thank you. So is your name pronounced Greg? Greig? Is that how I shall address you, new friend? Yeah, it's sorry. And then Ken is saying, no, Laurel and Hardy is safe. Yeah, no, not thrilled, because there's obviously a lot more classic stuff we would have wanted to put in. But again, maybe that's another book one day. And Ken is also asking, who is your favorite film critic? Alive or dead is fine.
Alive or dead.
Alive or dead. Or deadly alive, either way.
Well, for many, many years, he's kind of semi-retired, but Todd McCarthy worked at Variety for like 40 years, at Daily Variety here in Hollywood. I think was the most observant and astute film critic in the business. But Variety at that time was only read by people in the industry.
Yeah.
And it was before the internet.
Yeah.
Before everybody had access to these reviews.
It's different.
So he wasn't as well known or celebrated as I think he deserved to be. But I always liked David Denby when he was writing for New York Magazine.
Justin Chang,
former student.
Yep.
Who is now with the New Yorker. And Justin and I often disagree about the merits of a movie, but he is a great writer and a world-class punster.
That is what he is best known for, is his pun abilities.
Yes.
And we're grateful for that. He makes us laugh. Anthony says, I just want to give a shout out to Wheeler and Woolsey from a fellow fan. Never a bad time.
God bless you, sir.
Never a bad time, Anthony.
God bless you, sir.
And James is saying he's thankful that the upcoming Famous Studios Blu-ray has 2 Little Lulu cartoons. Yeah. No, again, any time that these things get attention, love, we're happy. You know, whatever puts them there is great.
That multi-disc Tom and Jerry set that Warner Archive put out. Fantastic. Just fantastic.
Speaking of movie critics, have you heard anything about Gene Shalit, or is that the question?
I just recently learned that he was still alive in his late 90s. Yeah. He's responsible for getting my job at Entertainment Tonight.
Yep.
He was so loose and lively, and we conducted such an upbeat conversation when I was plugging my book, The Great Movie Comedians, that it was noticed by a guy out here at Paramount who recommended me to the people who were trying to rescue Entertainment Tonight during its first season.
Man, it is crazy how all these things come around. You know, you just never know.
Andrew Saris had a great influence on me, for sure. I didn't get to Dave Kerr, very, very bright guy. I didn't get to read Roger Ebert when he was in his prime, because my local newspaper in Jersey, the Bergen Record, didn't carry his stuff. And when we moved here to LA, the LA Times didn't carry his reviews. When the internet came along, Roger was an early adopter, and he put his entire inventory online.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to read him and become a real admirer. I think he was a superior film critic. And he managed to make his reviews personal without seeming to indulge in or overindulge in autobiographical detail. A really, really good writer.
Yeah. I think it's a difficult thing to critique anybody, right? You have to have a certain sort of amount of guts and gusto to be able to look and go, I didn't like this. It's because everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants the positive, but I think it's harder. And so that's why whenever people say to my dad, how do I do this? What do I do? My dad will always say, watch as many movies as you can, read as many books as you can, because the more information you have, the better you will be.
Right.
The
more movies you've seen, you can make intelligent comparisons.
And imagine intelligent comparisons. No, that's the
speaking of ego. Last week at the Jewish Film Festival in San Diego, we were talking about the men who founded the motion picture industry.
Yes.
People like William Fox and Carl Laemmle and Jesse Lasky and right here Adolf Zucker.
And why do I know who Jesse Lasky is? Because of that sign that was in the bathroom, that poster thing that you had for a million years.
Sure.
That's how I knew the names of a lot of people, is especially because we have commemoratives everywhere, right? And they've always put tons of stuff in our bathrooms. And so as a kid growing up, there are things I can repeat to you because it comes from the bathroom in our home. Greg. Okay, great. Hi, Greg. And it's stuff like you had all of the things from Van Heusen. He had these Van Heusen ads in one of our bathrooms, and I memorized all of them. Yes, Dan, it sure is dandy. Things like that.
For Dan Daly.
For Dan Daly, he was doing an ad for it. Yes, there was a Jesse Lasky poster that lived above the door in one of the bathrooms, and that is how I knew his name. Thank you for putting that in our bathroom. So yes, last week when we were doing the thing at the JCC, my dad got out these really cool pieces. We're going to do, I loved the research you put in, and I loved what you were talking about. So we're going to do a podcast episode about essentially the Jewish people that started Hollywood and that had such a huge effect, an impact, if you will. But my dad brought for show and tell there, and I got to walk these around and show everybody these really neat pieces. So this one's
in silver or perhaps pewter.
Pewter. I think most of them are pewter because they're heavy as hell.
Adolf Zucker was the principal founder of Paramount Pictures. His original company was called Famous Players and Famous Plays. And he signed the legendary Sarah Bernhardt in 1912 to get the distribution rights in America for her film, The Loves of Queen Elizabeth. And so here's a commemorative
to
piece.
H.J. Seiler to commemorate the first playing of the motion picture Queen Elizabeth in the United States, Adolf Zucker, Paramount's Silver Jubilee for Adolf Zucker, 1912 to 1937. And again, these are insanely heavy. They're very, very heavy when you hold them. This is my favorite because it's double-sided and I think it's awesome.
This is bronze.
This says Paramount Pictures on it, Adolf Zucker, President. This is the front of it. And this is the back, which I think is really neat. And around the side, it says Famous Players, Lasky Corporation, 15th anniversary, 1911 to 1926. Publix and Paramount Pictures.
And that's the Paramount building in New York City.
Yeah.
Which still stands. And which housed the Paramount Theater on Times Square. But I mean, you got to have a pretty healthy ego.
It's pretty great.
To make yourself the face.
Yep. The literal face. This one says Paramount Silver Jubilee for Adolf Zucker, 1912 to 1937, in commemoration of 25 years of distinguished service to motion pictures.
Even if I say so myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the comparative jokes as we were showing this to people and saying, can you imagine wanting to put your name and your face on everything? How ridiculous is that? Oh. But yeah, these are so cool, but also hilarious when you learn what they are. What people do with the plaques, they're like paperweights. Most of them are paperweights.
Yeah.
They're just heavy as hell and they'd sit on your desk. So, you're at Comic-Con and you see all kinds of stuff and some things cannot be purchased there. Some of them are, oh, they should be coming out in a few months. They should exist. Yeah, Logan, they should be coming out in a few months, whatever it is. Well, we saw this doll, and my dad said to me, Jesse, can you look this up? Put us on a waiting. Oh, what do you have in your mouth, sir? What do you have, sir? Come here, show me. What do you have? What do you have? Come here. Anyway, my dad saw this and he said, Jesse, I need you to get onto a wait list, find out whatever you can. That was 2-something years ago. And I would occasionally get an email saying, hey, we might be making this, and then nothing for ages. And then I got an email about a week and a half ago saying, hey, it's shipping out. And I, again, didn't believe it till it arrived, but it arrived last night. It is a Vincent Price doll.
It's an action figure.
It is an action
figure. They refer to it as an action figure.
So,
very nice packaging.
Very nice packaging here.
When you open it up.
And here's the back. When you open this, it's got a little Velcro thing.
There's things you can do. I mean, you can play with it like you play with Barbie.
Yeah. So he's got different faces you can put on him. He's got cigarettes. You can change to a tie or a bow tie. There are all kinds of really strange. There's different hands. So you can make his hands do different things. It is weird as hell, but very cool. And yes, Nick, Logan is vocalizing. Yes, he is. I know it's hard to see through the plastic. Normally we would buy 2. So there's one you can take out and one you could leave in the box. But considering that this took 2-something years to ever appear, we didn't even think about it then. But it is very cool. Yeah.
If you're interested at all in early Hollywood history and the...
Also, it's a choking hazard and it says ages 17 and up. I have never seen a box say 17 and up.
Wow. How'd they arrive at that number?
Somebody.
A 16-year-old?
Somebody.
All right.
Somebody said something.
Neil Gaiman wrote the definitive book on all this. It's called An Empire of Their Own. It is a foundational text, as they sometimes say. That's a book. It's a must-read. It's a must-read. He did deep, deep research and very well written, very informative.
A few folks are asking about the National Film Registry list. What you think, what you like.
I haven't seen it.
There you go.
I voted on it for 20 years.
Yeah. Sorry, my mom just screamed at the dogs barking outside. That was funny. So Greg's asking Jesse and Leonard, what films do you remember watching at home and on the big screen? What are the first films you remember watching at home and on the big screen?
Oh, okay.
He knows his first movie in a theater.
Reissue of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yep.
At the Guild Theater on 51st Street in New York. It's no longer there. It was the theater behind Radio City Music Hall. I always thought it was an accident or a mistake.
What's wrong, Bill?
Because Radio City Music Hall was not intended to be a movie theater. It was intended to be a presentation house.
What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?
Oh, Mark Evanier points out usefully.
Yeah, the real Vincent Price was a choking hazard. Very true, Evanier. Very true. So yeah, your first in a theater that you remember was Snow White.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you watched at home?
No, I watched everything at home.
Yeah, I think that I guess if I think about it, it's going to be a combination in my brain of Pajama Game, Seven Brides, Calamity Jane, because I can't remember, but it's like a combo of those in my head because we watch those a lot at home again and again and again. So it's those 3 in my head. In terms of actually in a theater, I don't know. I really don't.
Would have been one of those Disney.
Yeah, it would have been one of the Disney screenings. Yeah, I don't know. Is there some, Mabel, use your words. Is there something out there? Is there something out there you need to murder to death?
Larry has come.
Larry's key highlights of the 2025 selections: iconic Hollywood hits, The Karate Kid, Glory, Philadelphia, High Society, 1956, and The Grand Budapest Hotel. genre staples, John Carpenter's horror classic The Thing, 1982, and the animated Pixar film The Incredibles, 2004. Cult favorites, Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise and the teen comedy Clueless. Documentaries, Brooklyn Bridge, Say Amen, Somebody, The Loving Story, and The Wrecking Crew. Silent era, 6 early films, including The Tramp and the Dog and The Lady, 1925. I mean, it's all good movies. I love Clueless, and I have to tell you, as I get older, it just gets funnier. Honestly, it's very much one of those films that I loved it I loved it when it came out. I loved it when I was younger, but as I got older, so many of the jokes started to make sense. There's 2 really great lines. One is that her friend is coming over to the house and they're going to watch Sporadicus. Hilarious. The other one is this guy, she's getting into a car and he says, "Do you like Billie Holiday?" And she goes, "I love him." Those are the 2 to me that are 2 of the best lines in the whole movie. That honestly weren't funny to me as a kid because I didn't get them. I didn't get the jokes. And then as I got older, I went, "Oh, that is hilarious." So I do love that, but it's a bunch of good movies. What could be wrong? Really? You?
Oh, I remember. I'll never forget seeing Jerry Lewis's first solo film without Dean Martin, The Delicate Delinquent, which came out in 1957, which means I was 6 years old. And that's when I fell in love with Jerry Lewis.
That'll do it.
And great opening.
Yeah, that's funny. Sean is saying, well, most younger people I know only know Vincent Price through the rap in Thriller. Hilarious and accurate.
Understandable.
I would think a lot of younger people probably know him because of Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably one of because it's still popular and people still do the costumes and stuff like that. I feel like that might be one of those places. It is such a trip when I always say careers are fascinating, right? And the idea that one person can know you from something so specific and someone else can know you from something completely different. I mean, we were saying this with Adam Sandler, that for me, if I close my eyes, I do think of a lot of the SNL stuff. That's some of the first things that pop into my head. But here my parents are watching Uncut Gems and Jay Kelly and, looking back at the Meyerowitz stories and stuff like that. And it's a very different version of him and of his life, and that's, so yeah, I always think it's a trip to think that one person can know you as the voice from such and such, and somebody else knows you as Broadway, somebody else knows you. This came up as well, actually, with Norbert Leo Butz, because if you're not familiar with his name, he was the original, in the original cast, Fiyero in Wicked. And a whole bunch of other stuff. And he's truly got one of the best voices you will ever hear. He's a great actor. He's a great performer. But some people have seen him in TV shows and they're familiar that way. Some people only know him sort of as a singer. But again, if you're a theater nerd, I got to see him on stage with John Lithgow in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Phenomenal. To get to see John Lithgow do anything, that was a good day. But the 2 of them together in that. So yeah, again, like how strange to know people from these different parts of their life and career.
Yeah.
You may only know them old. You may only know them young, and how strange is that? Even that aging, there are these photos of Shirley MacLaine, because I guess she's been out and cited a little bit, and she's older. She looks older. You wouldn't immediately know that was her. And again, you think, God, that's got to be very strange if people first recognize you at this age.
Yes. I mean, there's Adam Sandler sitting with me, looking at the monitor.
Yeah.
Looking at himself.
Yeah.
30, 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Clean shaven.
Yeah.
Skinnier.
Yeah. Young.
Yeah.
He was young when he started on SNL. He was a young guy.
He was 22, I think he said.
Yeah. He's a baby. So yeah, it's very strange thing, I think, to be able to watch yourself. I've said it to you. We have pictures of you on TV shows in the 70s.
Yeah.
We have video of you from the 60s. You were a teenager the first time you were on television.
On the Joe Franklin show.
But that's it. Most people don't get to see those things. Most people, even just the fact that, now I can record my daughter and have 8,000 pictures and videos of her, and I don't have to get out a camera. I don't have to get out something special to be able to do it. I just get my phone, and there it is. It's a very different time. It's a different world. We have so much access, so much access.
When I look back at my earliest interviews, I have regrets about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could ask more questions now, but I didn't take a camera.
I
didn't take a camera. So I have recordings of these incredible people from both sides of the camera.
Yeah.
But no pictures.
Yeah. Craig saying Vincent Canby was one of my favorite critics. What did you think of his work? And Woody Allen never had a greater champion.
I liked Vincent Canby very much, and he was very kind to me. He and Roger Greenspun, his number 2 at the New York Times, way back when, invited me to lunch at the Times commissary. We had a very, very nice lunch, and he offered to act as an intermediary to present some of my ideas to the editor of the Sunday Arts and Leisure section, Seymour Peck. Which was just a gracious gesture. And it didn't work. Then I took a class at NYU with Clive Barnes, who had been the New York Times drama critic. And I turned in copies of my freelance articles. And he read them and he said, "Do you mind if I call Cy Peck at the Times? I'd like to," nothing worked. I finally got in. I finally got one article published in the Sunday Times Arts and Leisure section, and it was when I was courting your mother.
Ha!
And she was unimpressed.
Alice, how could she? How could she? No, there's so many. Again, it is a different time. We are today inundated with writers, with bloggers, vloggers, all these different things. And, again, it's like there used to be, you said this when the Critics' Choice folks gave him the Critics' Critic Award a few weeks ago. He said, I came up at a different time where there were these sort of gatekeepers. And thankfully, most of the gatekeepers were pretty nice. Ones
I dealt with.
But, for the most part, they were excited to have someone new who was excited about this, and I say this even outside of that universe, but considering all the people that you interviewed for things like your cinematographer's book,
right.
You look, a lot of these people, the animators and the 9 Old Men and what have you, they really were about sharing. There wasn't a sense, I think you can be competitive, anybody can be competitive, but there really didn't feel like that was a heavy part of their presence. They were excited to share things. They were happy to share things. And, I say this too with a lot of our archivist friends, they cannot wait to share. They are saving and they're doing what they're doing so that you have access to these things for as long as possible. So, if you are a film critic and you love movies and you meet someone else who also loves movies, that should be your friend. That shouldn't be competition, And I think you were very lucky to get a lot of that there was a lot of sort of joy at a young person being excited,
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. There's room for, just to follow up on a comment here, there's room for everybody. If you are worthy, if you're a good writer, if you have good ideas, if you can express yourself well, there's a place for you. And the place is now online. It used to be small town newspapers or even a shopper newspapers.
Yeah.
That was a way of getting your foot in the door once upon a time and for a long time. Now it's the internet. And if what you're writing is fresh, original, people will find you,
Mm-hmm.
and they will tell other people, who will then tell other people.
Yeah. That's what you hope, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So we will not be here next week because it is the Independent Spirit Awards next Sunday. I will be working. He will be attending. And so we won't see you next Sunday, but we should be back the following Sunday.
Mark your calendar.
Mark your calendars. Happy Valentine's Day to anyone who wishes to Valentine at one another. I wish you many, many heart-shaped things, and all the best. And we will see you very soon.
And we will be the only media people today who are not mentioning a football game that is going on later this afternoon.
There's a football game later this
That's
afternoon.
the rumors tell me that.
Sports. Okay. Be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind.